when Sean Diddy Combs was sentenced to 50 months in federal prison. The reactions came fast. Shock, confusion, and disbelief spread everywhere. But according to Michael Franzese, a former Colombo crime family capo who spent years behind bars, Diddy's real problems haven't even started yet.
Normally, nobody's looking to shank you. When you get into the higher institutions, when people are doing, a ton of time and there's no way you can benefit them, then you got a little more problem.
Maybe if he'd be in a camp type situation, that's a possibility. But based on the lifestyle and what he's done and what he's accomplished, if he had to go behind those bars for a lot of years, I think that he may commit.
Franzese explained that despite all the headlines, Diddy's legal team skillfully managed a highly volatile situation. The judge, in his opinion, took everything into account: the years of controversy, the relentless media attention, and the emotional testimony from Diddy's family. In the end, Diddy walked away with just over 4 years, a sentence many insiders believe could have been far more severe.
Obviously, he's disappointed, although he really shouldn't be. I think, a 4-year sentence here with already credit for the year or so that he has in, I think he did very well with respect to all of the drama and all of the circumstance around this trial. There was a lot of bad stuff out there, and I'm not saying, I'm not passing judgment on that, but it just looked really bad. And he could have gotten up to 10 years or 11 years. So I think the judge, took everything into consideration. I think his family today made a very good plea for him, and I think he did very well. That's my opinion.
So what in your experience, like your own experience and other, inmates that you've seen go through it and then show back up at the cell block, how do they take this? Do they bury their head in the pillow and cry, or do they keep their head held high and just pack up their stuff and wait for their assigned new prison? Tell me everything.
Well, everybody's different. I'm sure he went back was somewhat disappointed, so he's probably, dwelling on that. Hey, it could have been differently. Maybe I should have gotten out. Maybe he's a little bit upset, a little bit angry. I get it. All those emotions come into play.
There's a specific process that decides where someone like Diddy will serve their time. While judges can make recommendations, the final decision lies with the Bureau of Prisons. Because of Diddy's massive fame and the intense public attention around his case, it's highly unlikely he'll end up in a minimum security camp. Those so-called club-fed facilities are reserved for low-risk inmates, featuring open grounds, minimal barriers, and a more relaxed environment. But given Diddy's high profile and potential security risks, a medium security prison is a much more likely outcome.
He's got to get ready. He'll spend a couple of weeks there until they designate him to a new facility. And he'll be a lot better off in prison than he is in the federal jail. At least there you can move around and you got some freedom on the yard and things like that. My thought is he'll collect himself, get himself together. There are ways for him to improve himself. They have the Bureau of Prisons now has a drug program. And if you're allowed to get into that drug program, you can knock as much as 18 months off your sentence. Now, I don't know if he'll qualify, if they'll allow him to go in, but he'll probably start to think about, okay, what can I do to reduce my time now? That's what everybody thinks when you get in there. Is there any way we can better ourselves? He's thinking about what facility they're going to send him to. I'm sure he spoke to his lawyers and he asked his lawyers to put in a facility that's close to his home, close to his family, a low or medium level. I don't think he'll get into a camp.
Oh, can you though? Does your request actually count? I mean, I thought the feds just put you where it works for them. I didn't think you get a say in it.
Well, here's the thing. The judge, you could ask the judge to recommend. The Bureau of Prisons doesn't have to go along with the judge's recommendation, but it does help a little bit. They do try to sometimes satisfy the judge's request. You can put in a request, and sometimes they'll honor it, sometimes they won't.
Franzese knows that world all too well. He reflected on his own time in both minimum and higher security prisons. The minimum security camps, he explained, had no fences, just open perimeters and a system built on trust. But even small mistakes, transfers, or administrative decisions could quickly send someone back to a much tougher environment. He emphasized that Diddy's experience won't just depend on where he's placed, but on how he carries himself once he gets there.
Is the camp the lowest security and therefore more paddle and tennis and all the other things and what they call club fed or camp cupcake?
Yeah, they moved me to a camp by accident at one point, and there's no fences or anything like that. And I wasn't there for too long because they realized they made a mistake and put me back in the medium security. But they tell you when you get there, listen, there's no fences. If you want to leave, you can leave. But when we catch you, we're going to add another 5 years onto your sentence. And while I was in that camp for 2 months, each month somebody ran away. I mean, they always try to do that. But yeah, he's thinking of that. Yeah, he's thinking of that. But a medium security is not that
so
bad.
let me quickly go back though. Go back to that piece about he's high profile, so he won't get a camp. Why wouldn't he? I thought in a camp nobody's going to shank him because again they want out.
The overriding factor there, I believe, is he's a guy with a lot of money. And I'll tell you, this happened to me when I went in there because of the profile I had, because of the way they wrote me up. I had everybody and their brother inmate trying to do a deal with me when I got out, a business deal. They need money. Because of the fact that he's a money guy, I think he's going to have more friends than he will enemies. And in a medium security, normally nobody's looking to shank you. When you get into the higher institutions, when people are doing, a ton of time and there's no way you can benefit them, then you got a little more problem. But in a medium security, I don't think he'll have an issue at all. I really don't. He can be too much of a benefit to inmates that are always looking for something. And he could be a golden ticket for some people, at least in their mind.
Those moments will challenge him more than any courtroom ever could. The isolation, the stripped-down routine, and the distance from everything he once controlled will test his strength in ways fame never did. It's a kind of honesty that power and luxury rarely demand. So, what happens now? His legal team is reportedly pushing to have him placed in a facility closer to his family, one that offers a safer, more rehabilitative environment. But according to his former bodyguard, Gene Deal, Diddy doesn't deserve the sympathy he's getting for the sentence.
The artist got him dropping to his knees at the time of the verdict, crying on the chair. My heart goes out and it says, come and feed them beans. I can care less about his sadness. I can care less about him being in pain. I can care less about what he has to be faced with in court or in jail now. I don't have no remorseful feelings for him, bro. You understand? This is somebody that at one time I would have given my own life for. And to know this nigga was trying to get people to take my life because I was trying to teach them to be right by people and tell them to be right by people. I have no remorse for this dude, bro. To see him like that, I know there is a God. And you can feel all the way you want to feel about me. You can say whatever you want to say about me. But karma is a mother. And if it ever gets back to you when you have done somebody wrong, not just me, I'm not saying me, I'm saying when you have done people wrong, you have done goals of people wrong, to see him on his knees begging like that, I would say something, but the LGBT community will be after me. So you'll never hear me say it, so I don't want to get in trouble with it. But bruh, I'm happier than in a barrel of dicks to see him like that.
On Monday, Diddy's defense team sent a letter to Judge Arun Subramanian requesting that he recommend placement at FCI Fort Dix, a large low-security federal prison in southern New Jersey. Attorney Tenny Geragos argued that Fort Dix would allow Diddy to address substance issues while remaining close to his family, providing better access to visitation and rehabilitation programs. The facility offers the well-known Residential Drug Abuse Program, RDAP, a 9 to 12-month intensive course that can help inmates recover and potentially reduce their sentences by up to a year. A significant benefit for someone facing around 3 more years. However, Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, disagrees entirely, insisting that Diddy is beyond rehabilitation and has simply received what he deserves.
God is good. I don't have no sympathy. I never have sympathy for somebody who was trying to take me from mine. You understand? Was he thinking about when he was telling people to get at Big Gene, to do this to Big Gene? Was he thinking about what if them dudes would have did that? Would he been thinking about me? Nah, bruh. Would he broke down and start crying for me? Nah, bruh. I don't have no sympathy for him. To see him like that, I know God is good. And God showed him. He can make you, he can break you. And I'ma say it again. You might get flagged for this. I'm happier than a faggot in a barrel of dicks, bruh. Don't you see the smile on my face? Bruh, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I don't have no sympathy at all. Cause I know he can play all the games he wanna play. Did he have sympathy when he said, I don't give a fuck if Pac gotta die. I don't give a fuck if Big gotta die. Suge Knight can go to jail. Did he have any sympathy when he said to Wolf, I don't need you no more? Meech said, I don't need you no more. Set him off. Do you have sympathy when he told D Ferg, nah, I can't do that. Nah, I don't f with you. Nah, I can't do that like that. Did he have sympathy when he said to Wolf Mama, your son has delusions of grandeur. All he want to do is smoke weed and get high. Do you have sympathy for the notorious Big Mama? Talking about, I didn't go to the funeral. He ain't go to the funeral. Did he have sympathy for Craig Mack? Did he have sympathy for Black Rob to make sure he did the right thing by them? And he sure didn't have no damn sympathy for me when he told dudes to come at me. So looking at those pictures, bruh, I could tell you just like this, with no ifs, ands, and buts about it. I'm happier than a barrel of dicks.
Over the years, FCI Fort Dix has housed its fair share of well-known inmates. But for Diddy's legal team, the appeal is clear, it's close to home, allows family visits, and offers a real chance at rehabilitation. However, not everyone believes Fort Dix is the right choice. Christopher Zukis, author of the Federal Prison Handbook and a consultant who advises defendants in the federal system, describes the facility as unpredictable. He's warned that while Fort Dix may seem peaceful from the outside, it has struggled with gang activity, contraband, and staff shortages. That could pose a serious problem for Diddy, especially since many inmates across the U.S. prison system, including some at Fort Dix, still idolize Tupac. For those who believe Diddy played a part in Tupac's death, his arrival might not be welcomed at all.
Say, yo, listen here, man. This guy's life might be danger over here because people think that he has something to do with Pac. People think he has something to do with Biggie. Some of the people are still mad that he made Making of the Band walk to Brooklyn from, to get the cheesecake, and just around the corner from the Cheesecake Factory. So, Juniors. So it might be some dumb shit. So y'all need to get him out of here and ship him to Jersey because somebody gonna kill him over here. Those are good arguments, if you want to call it, but it's bullshit. He gonna get the same treatment no matter how much money he got from them correction officers. Because if they don't, and they get caught giving him preferential treatment, they're gonna lose their job.
So you feel like Pac fans will try to do something to him?
Pac and Biggie fans. He can have issues with both of them because a lot of people think, because of the statement that Keefe D made, that he did something to Pac. A lot of people know or think that because of Biggie leaving, they finding out that Biggie was leaving Bad Boy, that he may have had something to do with Biggie. People feel that way. You hear it all the time. You see it all the time on the chats and all that stuff.
He's recently claimed that Diddy could be arrested for Tupac's murder much sooner than anyone expects, as KFD is reportedly threatening to expose everything and reveal details that could change the entire case.
Keefe D, his trial begins in February, and you know, his defense is the reason why he killed Tupac is because of Puffy. Puffy, he put a hit out on him and Suge, and I don't know, man. It ain't looking too good for Puffy.
Brother, you know what? With a trial, you can't only use circumstantial evidence. You have to have some kind of physical evidence. There's no physical evidence that Keefe D or has something to do with Pac's death. There's circumstantial evidence. There's people that could probably testify or what somebody told them or heard. So now, Keefe D, lawyers and them did a great job when they did trial by judge. Because the judge is looking for physical evidence. What ties Keefe D to Puff? What ties Keefe D to the murder of Tupac? And how could they prove that either one of them has something to do with it? Somebody would have to get on the stand and say that I saw him, he told me, and they want to have to believe them. The Bloods was laying people down, but behind Pac getting shot. It was a big, it sparked a big gang war out there. So, if they want to pull Diddy into that, they gotta mitigate circumstantial evidence. Anybody could be a witness for you, but what can they prove? Somebody's gonna have to say, I heard this conversation. This was a handshake or a nod or something went down, and it's gonna be hard to prove. It's gonna be hard to prove. Unless they follow the money.